So you hit level 2500 or 2400 or whatever you are. You mastered Legendary Super Saiyan, you have your 600,000 power. But now you're wondering, what do I do now? How do I get more? These people have millions of power levels. How do I get to their level? Well, that will be the purpose of what I'm going to show you today. Today, I am going to be speaking about enchantment fragments. The topics I'll be going over today will be: what are enchantment fragments? What do they do? Where do you get them? And some useful fragments at the end. So, let's get started. Well, to very begin with, what exactly are enchantment fragments? Enchantment fragments are items that you pick up throughout your game that that you can apply to clothing items in order to increase your stats. Think of them as enchantments from Minecraft that you would put on armor or your weapons to improve your abilities. These are what they look like on your actual clothing. In order to put them on a clothing, they would need to have these 3 empty circles here. This shows that this piece of clothing has 3 enchantment slots. This, for example, is my current shirt that I'm using that has 3 enchantments currently slotted. They are the basis for what actually increases your power and how general people are able to continue to grow in Dragon Soul after hitting the max level. So what do they do exactly? Well, as I said before, as you can see here, they give you stat buffs. So they basically, you can apply them to clothing to help improve your abilities in ways that aren't just by equipping new clothes or leveling up. These are other ways that you can increase your power, like health regen, which gives you more health. Critical damage increases how much damage you do with the crit. Or Iron Fist, which is how much more damage and punching you deal. Or other fragments, such as critical. There is another one in here, like Critical Strike, which increases your critical hit chance. So, what they exactly do is, as I said, they give you ways you can improve your abilities on your clothing and build without actually just leveling up. Because once you hit a certain point in your level, it is very hard to gain further abilities. So, another thing that I must mention is that enchantment fragments have a level. Like this one right here. It has a level 1 fragment. This is a level 2 fragment. This is a level 3 fragment, and so on and so forth with 4 and 5. So, these numbers indicate how much of a stat is actually going to go up. So, these abilities all have a certain amount they give depending on the level of the enchantment fragment. So, they are, for example, with this fragment, the Saiyan Drip, this gives form increased by 10% or 5%, 7, and then 10 example. So as the number goes up, the ability goes up as well. Now, another thing you might be asking is, where do I get these enchantment fragments? Well, there are 2 ways you can get enchantment fragments in Dragon Soul, and I will be showing you both of them. The first and easiest way for most new players will be summoning Shenron. This will be one of the easier methods to actually get your hands on more enchantment fragments. I will show you the exact wish you'll need to click because there are a lot of wish options and it might be a little hard to figure out which one you want. So, when you're in Shenron, you are looking for this wish right here. I wish for enchantment fragments. As you can see here, this will give you a 2 epic in 1 rare plus tier. What that rare plus tier means is it could be either a rare or up enchantment fragment. So you would click this wish, you would do this wish for Shenron, and that is how you would get 3 flat enchantment fragments like this. It could be anything. When you open these fragments, it will be any of the 2 epics, and it'll give you a random percent on the number. So each fragment has a set chance of dropping, and then on top of that, the rarity of that fragment will also change depending on what you get. That will be kind of the main way of deciding what you acquire. The other way to acquire enchantment fragments is through Grade 8, once you have completed a certain quest. The quest is a certain quest you can really only need to do at the end of the game, which was recently added at Port Prospero, which I would show you, but I've already completed it. When you go, it is the area, which I can show you really quick, since it'd be better to just show you versus explaining. The area is, if you click this button to go to raids and you hit shop, it'll teleport you to Port Prospera. This quest right here is where you would finish this quest you would need. You would go here, do a few objectives, and you'll be able to unlock an ability which guarantees it. So from every great ape kill is a guaranteed enchantment fragment. That is the other main method of getting him, and it is very much unguaranteed what fragment you'll actually get, unlike what you'll do when you do from the Riches, which is a guaranteed 2 epics and 1 rare plus. Which I will show you really quick. As an example, by killing Great Ape, you can see that it will in fact drop a enchantment fragment. So, let me apply my stuff really quick. I'll probably end up skipping to the end once I have actually managed to kill him. I decided to bring the recording back here because I wish to show you what it actually looked like when you kill Great Ape. So that right there is the Enchantment Fragment. It is basically what you get after you complete that quest and you kill the monkey. And so when you kill him, and you go, as you can see, it says new item Enchantment Fragment. When you go into your inventory, it'll just be at the bottom. I got a common, which is fairly normal. Those are the main ways in Dragon Soul of actually how you get enchantment fragments. Now, some useful fragments that you guys are probably going to want to hunt for. So, we'll start with common and I'll work our way up. So, when it comes to these enchantment fragments, they're generally a endgame kind of thing. So you only need to worry about these once you've actually hit max level, and you basically have no other way of improving. I don't necessarily say even only worrying about these once you get higher level clothing items from the raids. Commons, there's not too many helpful ones in here. You're probably not going to really want to use any of these unless you are a new player and you just happen to get one to drop. You can just put it on because you got nothing better. Blues enchantment fragments are just another, basically the same thing as commons, but they just apply different stats. Go target different stats. Rare is only one fragment type in the game. There is only key regen at rare. This fragment is honestly kind of pointless since there are multiple ways of recovering key on your own. Epics are where you actually start running into useful fragments. Critical Strike is one of the more useful fragments, as what this one does, as it says, it increases your critical hit chance. However, one thing you must note about Critical Strike in particular, you can only have 2 of them on your build at a time, no matter what. You can only have 2, which means if you put 3 of these on, it will not increase your, for example, Critical Strike 4, it will not increase your critical strike chance by 36%. It will only be 24, and that third one is wasted. Another useful fragment would be health regen. It's fairly obvious what that one does. It just increases your healthy gain. Generally, at the end of the game, you really don't want to use this one, but unless you're going for like a Kaioken build, but that's not really too great. Then there is Iron Fist. This is one of the endgame fragments you want to find. Every endgame build always has at least one of these. You may have more in your build if you like it, but these do stack. But every build will always have at least probably one of these. What these do is they make it so your M1s and your M2s do bonus additional, for example with this one, 10% damage versus NPCs. That number, the percent will go up as you get a higher rarity. That is a very useful fragment. This is the 5 is, this is the Critical Strike 5 that I was mentioning, this is one you want to hunt for. That is pretty much the main fragments you'll probably want at this tier for Epic. You could maybe go critical damage if you want, but it's not really too... I mean, some people use this, I know, but it's not the basis. The best fragment in the game that you are always going to be hunting for, no matter what, is the legendary fragment, Saiyan Drip. Saiyan Drip 1, for example, this fragment, 2, 3, and 4, as I said before, these increase the amount of stats you get from your transformations. This fragment is how people are getting the millions of power levels that you're seeing higher level people have. These fragments are extraordinarily important. No matter what, you will always be using these in pretty much every single slot on your build at the end of the day. The ones you are specifically looking for would be Saiyan Drip 4 and 5. Because 4, as you saw on my shirt, performs 15% more stats. That is very powerful. The other one you'll be looking for would be Sand Drip 5, which gives 20%. That is the best. Sand Drip 5 is probably the best enchantment fragment in the entire game, but it also makes it extraordinarily hard to get. So that, at the end of the day, is generally enchantment fragments. But there's a few things I need to mention, because if I don't, you will probably come back to bite me. Enchantment fragments have a chance to fail. Whenever you put them on your items, there's a chance that they will fail and not apply, but still be consumed. However, it is the highest chance of failure on the lowest rarity. So common has the highest chance of failure, then uncommon is less, then less, then less, with epics being a 90% chance of success and only a 10% chance of failure. While legendaries, the best chance you don't have to worry about is because they physically cannot fail. So if you get a very rare Sand Drip 5 or 4, you don't have to worry about the fragment failing on you. It is not possible for the Sand Drip fragments to fail. Now say another question you might have. How do you get fragments off of your clothes? Say, for example, I wanted to replace the Sand Drip 4 with the Sand Drip 5. Well, how would I do that? The easiest way you would do that is there is another item you get from the monkey. It is the only way to get it, called an Enchantment Remover. What this will do, as it says, is that you can remove an enchantment from an item, allowing another enchantment to be applied. What that means is that, however, you have to be careful with this. This will not give you the fragment back. This will delete it. It straight up removes it. So only do this on something you do not mind losing, or you have a direct upgrade to, because this will not give you the fragment back. So if you have a health regen 5 and you want to replace it for a critical strike, you will not get the health regen 5 back. With that is the basics of of all of the enchantment fragments and what they do, how you get them, and other useful methods of what they are, and pretty much everything you might need to know. If you have any questions about them, please comment down below and I will respond to you and do my best to answer any questions you might have about fragments. That will be all. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe.